le soulèvement de tout un pays contre la vie chère, le chômage, la répression policière. L'appel à la révolte est lancé sur Facebook. Le président Ben Ali fuit son pays. Après la Tunisie, la contestation gagne l'Égypte.
Une gigantesque liesse sur la place Tahrir au centre du Caire. Les dizaines de milliers de manifestants viennent d'apprendre la démission de Moubarak. Un départ sous la pression populaire.
Le Caire ou l'ivresse d'une nuit de révolution.
In Egypt, Facebook mobilized crowds and sparked a revolution.
The Arab Spring happened in part because of the service that he had created, along with Twitter. Twitter and Facebook were the two key tools in the Arab Spring.
So this is the thing about Facebook. It's its pervasiveness that was critical in Tunisia and in Egypt and made it possible for it to be involved with the Arab Spring.
You have to be optimistic to think that you can change the world. And people will always call you naive, but it's this hope and this optimism that is behind every important step forward.
Showing that you're not just creating technologies, but rather leveraging these technologies to bring about transformative change to the world is a huge part of the Silicon Valley mindset.
Because we can actually give more people a voice. Instead of building walls, we can help people build bridges, one connection at a time.
Mark Zuckerberg's core values embody a liberal, open-minded, and cosmopolitan spirit, which are underpinned by an optimistic belief that the best outcome for our societies will emerge from individuals being interconnected.
C'est donc la dernière ligne droite vers la Maison-Blanche, et c'est un sprint. Donald Trump et Hillary Clinton jettent leur dernière force dans la bataille.
I was probably one of the earliest people raising red flags about the amplification issues.
Et on peut dire que la surprise a été totale la nuit dernière aux États-Unis.
À Washington, un monde s'effondre devant nos yeux. C'est un vertige.
I was like, this is going to end badly.
Donald Trump avait promis de créer la surprise comme l'avaient fait les Britanniques il y a quelques mois avec le Brexit. Donald Trump a réussi à capter la colère et la frustration d'une partie de l'Amérique.
I think in the United States, the real turning point where everybody went, whoa, was undoubtedly the 2016 election.
Don't forget, everybody thought Hillary was going to win. So everyone was in tremendous shock, including Donald Trump himself. He didn't even think he would win.
Thank you very much.
He didn't expect to win.
How did this happen? Facebook had been a big reason why it happened. The Trump campaign itself was very, very aggressive in using Facebook. Many tens of millions of dollars worth of advertising spent very intelligently, very strategically.
The personal data of Facebook users has been used for targeted propaganda, disseminating political messages to highly identified groups within the population. These electoral propagandists didn't hack Facebook or break the law, but rather used the tools provided by Facebook for advertising to further their propaganda. However, the fact that they did nothing illegal is precisely what makes this scandal so egregious.
Facebook now under fire. Critics say it allowed fake news to spread on the platform. Mark Zuckerberg says deciding what's allowed to be shared or not is not his job.
And it caused this sort of widespread fear because people started to panic about misinformation and the direct accusation made towards Facebook's role and responsibility in this whole situation.
Un autre phénomène inquiète les fake news.
Fausses informations ou infos sensationnelles qui se font passer pour des vrais.
Que faire face aux fake news?
Hey.
Hey,
Thank you.
it's there.
Please. Well, I run a conference called Techonomy, and we had an event 2 days after the election of Donald Trump. I was just saying, Mark, that when I met you, Facebook had 9 million users, and now it has close to 2 billion, so things have changed slightly.
It's been a busy decade.
I asked him about fake news. Well, you know, one of the things post-election, you've been getting a lot of pushback from people who feel that you distorted the way that people perceived the information during the course of the campaign and what the responsibilities are that you have as a result of that enormous influence that it has. And he ended up really getting deeply embarrassed. It kind of became one of the most notorious statements of that whole era.
You know, I've seen some of the stories that you're talking about around this election. You know, personally, I think the idea that you know, fake news on Facebook influenced the election in any way, I think is a pretty crazy idea. Pretty crazy idea. Pretty crazy idea.
When Mark said that he thought that fake news had no real impact, he genuinely believed it.
And it's, you know, voters make decisions based on their lived experience, right? I mean, you kind of, one part of this that I think is important is we really believe in people.
It was so wrong because fake news on Facebook did affect the election of Donald Trump tremendously. Fake news that was distributed by the Trump campaign, fake news that was distributed by the Russian government, fake news that was distributed by all kinds of people.
Our job and our goal is to help people help give people the content that's going to be the most meaningful and interesting to them.
Essentially, he was caught in a dilemma. The ideal response would have been for him to say, listen, fake news isn't responsible because information doesn't have that direct of an effect on users. The idea that it can easily change people's minds is a story that we like to believe, but it's unproven. That would have cleared his name. But if he said that, the message to the advertisers would have been, listen, it's not really worth buying personalized ads because they aren't very effective. But since he couldn't say that, he found himself in a situation where he was forced to say, listen, my system has a strong and powerful effect. You can reach out to different audiences, you can convince them, you can get them on your side, and you can change their minds. He had to. It's part of his business model.
L'affaire Facebook qui n'en finit pas de faire des rebonds.
Le réseau social n'a pas réussi à éteindre l'incendie. Facebook a-t-il contribué à manipuler le référendum sur le Brexit? Facebook et son patron pris dans une tourmente mondiale.
Facebook incited violence against Rohingya.
Tous ces messages en ligne ont très largement été amplifiés par les algorithmes et ça a contribué aux violations des droits humains dans le monde physique.
Cambridge Analytica.
Effrayé en 2016 par Donald Trump et ses équipes, sa mission, cibler les électeurs et influencer leur vote. Facebook savait-il que les données de ses internautes servaient à des fins électorales?
Le patron de Facebook se dérobe. Mark Zuckerberg refuse de se présenter devant la commission parlementaire britannique qui l'a convoqué pour répondre du détournement de données par la société britannique Cambridge Analytica.
Ever since the election of Trump, Facebook has gone through a tremendous decline in its image. It has begun to be seen by many as a fundamentally harmful platform for society, which sometimes is, I think, excessive because Facebook has plenty of good qualities. But because Zuckerberg has done such a bad job of addressing the harms that it causes, and because he has so time and time again seemed not to care about the harms, Facebook's image has just gone into the toilet.
Mark Zuckerberg, amoché, le visage plein de bleu, de griffures, la lèvre fendue. C'est le photomontage choc que le magazine américain Wired a mis à la une de son numéro de mars pour symboliser les 2 années particulièrement difficiles que vient de traverser le réseau social.
Let's be careful. We like having characters to our stories. And at this point, Zuckerberg is a character. He ends up standing in as the avatar for all things Facebook. But Facebook is tens of thousands of people. And attributing all of those things to Zuckerberg is probably a mistake. He is not responsible himself for the failure of American democracy.
On peut être assis sur la 5e fortune mondiale, gérée à un réseau de 2 milliards d'utilisateurs et se sentir tout petit parfois dans la vie. C'est un Mark Zuckerberg tendu, parfois livide, qui s'est présenté cette nuit devant les sénateurs américains. 4h30 à répondre au feu croisé des questions.
Mr. Zuckerberg, would you be comfortable sharing with us the name of the hotel you stayed in last night?
No.
If you've messaged anybody this week, would you share with us the names of the people you've messaged?
Senator, no, I would probably not choose to do that publicly here.
I think that may be what this is all about. Your right to privacy, the limits of your right to privacy, and how much you give away in modern America in the name of, quote, connecting people around the world.
The Senate did not force a reckoning. The Senate performed theater. They were going to play a check to Facebook by yelling and screaming and telling them that they were wrong, by shaming them, because that's what they know how to do. They had no political will to think about regulations, so they just wanted to publicly shame.
We didn't take a broad enough view of our responsibility, and that was a big mistake. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry. And it was my mistake, and I'm sorry.
Ugh. The smallness of that apology, next to the harms that his company has caused, is mind-blowing.
Most of Zuckerberg's apologies, I would say, are not very sincere. His apologies, when he makes them, are generally a PR exercise to try to take criticism down and to try to keep the heat off his company, and I find that very tragic.
I started Facebook, I run it, and I'm responsible for what happens here. So now, we have to go through all of our relationship with people and make sure that we're taking a broad enough view of our responsibility.
He said he'd fix Facebook, which is first and foremost an admission of failure, something that is never easy for an engineer. Is Facebook even repairable? That's the question.
Did any of these individuals ever stop to ask themselves why Facebook don't charge for access? Nothing in life is free.
At least here in the United States, most government officials don't have the slightest idea how the internet works technologically and have no way of challenging it. And when Zuckerberg spoke before Congress, I was ashamed. I was ashamed for my Congress.
How do you sustain a business model in which users don't pay for your service?
Senator, we run ads.
If my Congress was that ignorant and let him say those things that casually, without pushing him, we have a problem.